and where you're from, and go ahead and ask your question.
Andrew Kine from Maryland.
Hi, Andrew.
Have you ever heard of a theory called fictional realism?
What's that? Say again.
Have you ever heard of a theory called fictional realism?
Fictional realism? I haven't heard the theory of it, but I've probably been practicing it all my life. So, what is the theory?
That basically everything that we perceive as fiction exists in a parallel universe.
Well, I mean, it's not a theory that I've heard, but yeah, well, I've obviously heard of parallel universes and everything we possibly perceive. Fucking hell, imagine it. Imagine Big Bird being real. He loves Mitt Romney, apparently. So no, I haven't heard that, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously an interesting theory. I mean, I've been reading up a lot about string theory and parallel universes, and the potential for everything to be real is there, but, you know, I mean, fiction is fiction to me. That's...
Okay.
Thank you. Whose theory was it?
I don't know.
That's okay. I'll claim it as my own then. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Ryan Fisher from Kingston, Pennsylvania. Two things. First, thanks for making Superman. He's a cosplay.
Oh, thank you.
And
It's just denims and a pair of
for
boots.
this, because this is awesome. My question is, I was wondering if your opinion on the ending of Final Crisis, Superman Beyond 2 into Final Crisis 7, if your feelings about that have changed since the reboot? Or, I mean, the relaunch, the New 52 initiative?
Can you remind me what my feelings were?
I don't. Just because it seems that going back and reading the end of Final Crisis, that, you know, a couple of years later, it's like Mandrake won.
That's one way of looking at it, man.
You know, almost.
No, honestly, I think things just have to change and move on. I don't think Mandrake won because you got Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire and all these amazing new creators out of this thing, and I think it's worth it for those people, honestly. You know, I'm so glad to see new people come in that you feel a bit like, well, I've got to try harder, you know. And that's great for me. So no, I don't think Mandrake won. Mandrake can never win. As long as people keep telling stories, Mandrake doesn't win. He only wins when you run out of stories to tell. So I hope that never happens to you.
Thank you.
Hi, Grant. You're the best. Just wanted to remind you. Michael from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Hey, Michael.
When do we get more
Have you ever met Swamp Thing? He used to live there, didn't he?
Yeah. He's still there. Rob
apparently that guy says he's real.
Exactly.
Somewhere he's real, isn't he? Swamp Thing must be real somewhere.
Well, I hope Arcane doesn't sneak into my bedroom, but when are we getting more Sea Guy?
Oh, right. I've written the first one, I'm kind of into the second one now, and it's just a case of, you know, Cameron Stewart's obviously, I think he's doing one of the multiversities. I really want him to do the Captain Marvel one. So it's a case of kind of juggling those two books, but yeah, I mean, it's underway. It's
happening.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
Hey Grant, I'm David, I'm from here.
Hey David, hi. Just right there.
Just the very minute I popped into existence.
Just don't let any of these fuckers take your spots. That's how wars begin.
Yeah, every year this place gets louder and louder. I come up and yell at the neighbors. I asked this, I have a Batman RIP question. I asked this of Mike Marks like 2 years ago, who was your editor, and he said, I have no idea, you have to get Grant.
All right.
It was something that was so, it was in there, but you never really mentioned it, but I know you have a whole backstory to it, because you always do that. Every time you showed Batmite.
Yeah, the what?
He had the look, yes, what was that?
See, now I'm going to ruin it for you.
There's this little green monster with bright green eyes, and I have an idea what it is, but I want to know what it actually is.
Tell me what you think it is, and I'll tell you, right?
Because Batmite says, well, I'm the personification of your rational mind. So I kind of got at that point, his mind had been fractured by the Zurin arc, the programming and stuff like that. I sort of got that the little spidery guy was like the personification of that.
It's even worse.
It is? Is it?
Yeah, what the little thing was, I had this idea that basically the creatures in the fifth dimension was so appalling to look at that they couldn't show themselves to humans. And it's not because they're bad, it's just because if we were to look at them, we'd kind of fall apart and shit ourselves. And so Batman very kindly disguises himself as a childlike version of Batman. It's like something a kid would imagine. But over the corner, we constantly see these kind of creepy hands and eyes looking out. And
So it's like the part of him that's like just peeking
it's
out of there.
that's the real part of him, and Batman's just glimpsing this. What the fuck is that? You know, it's really something very unpleasant is crawling around. And my idea was that even if you saw Batman from the back, the thing would be on the front, so you can never quite see it.
I think you did that a couple of times.
Yeah, so I mean, what you're seeing is a face of something that's in the fifth dimension, and it's really unpleasant to look at. So it's trying its best to make itself look pleasant to us, you know, which is kind of what imaginary friends do.
So was it really in his head?
Yeah, well, but as I said, the fifth dimension is in your head. And think about this, right? How big is your head? Like 3 inches across, 4 inches across? Now, think of an entire universe. Fits, doesn't it? Think of 2 universes. Hey, they still fit. Think of 3. In fact, think of a multiversity, and they still fit. Now, how does that work? What's in there? It's a much higher dimension. We can fit things in there that can't fit in a same size box. So I was actually genuinely saying that I do honestly believe that the imagination is the fifth dimension, in the sense that we can imagine higher scales, we can imagine any amount of things, and they all fit into a tiny little box that shouldn't contain much more than a brain. So to me, the hole into the fifth dimension, we can even look into the past. You know, the mind is like a telescope that can look at the past. It's the only way to reach the past, is to look at it down there. So I was kind of actually quite genuinely proposing the notion that the fifth dimension is inside.